Hey, yo, what up, gang? So, I got a question for y'all. Are you creating engaging content or are you creating content that you hope people will engage with? And are you dependent on groups for all of your engagement? This is my question to you because those are two totally different concepts, right? When you're creating engaging content, just by nature of itself, like you don't need to pray and hope and wish that people will engage with it because the content is already engaging, so you're either invoking some kind of emotion or it's maybe a call to action that makes people want to comment versus the other scenario in which you're creating all of this content just hoping that somebody will engage with it because you're just throwing stuff out there hoping something sticks to the wall, right? So when you're creating content, be very intentional with your content. Is it invoking some kind of emotion? Does it make people super happy? Does it make people super sad? Does it make people super angry? That's why they have something called rage bait, right? Rage bait is exactly what it is. It baits you into engagement because you're so enraged, right? Let's say, and I don't want to get political, right? But there's a lot of people that don't like Trump. So if I wanted to get a whole bunch of engagement based purely off rage bait or anger, I would say something about Trump because he's a completely divisive figure, right? You're either for him or you're against him. And whichever side you're on, the other side's going to hate you. You know what I'm saying? So that is one way that you can do it. And that is one way that people do it. Now, I choose not to do it so much because I don't even want to go there, right? I don't even want to go there. But there's other ways that you can do that. Sometimes you post, for instance, like a lot of my news stories, and I'm not doing this on purpose. So don't get me wrong. When it comes to my news stories, I'm strictly posting the news stories for the news relevance of it. I'm not rage baiting. I'm not trying to trick people to engage with my content because of the nature of the story that I'm talking about. Now, you can believe me or not, but that's the absolute 100% truth. I report on stories because I feel like people should know about this stuff and we should all be informed. But there are people out here that create videos purely just off rage bait or invoking some kind of emotion. Now, you can also do a call to action or like do like, what would you do in this situation? Like, let's say, I don't know, just insert any situation and be like, what would you do? How would you handle this? You're asking the audience a question that makes them want to jump into the comment section and engage, right? Those are two very interesting and good ways in order to get engagement. Now, what you don't want to do is you never want to create content that's just random content that there's no real value to it, there's no real purpose behind it. It's just kind of blah, right? And that forces, like, if somebody views that content and they really want to support you, they're going to write a comment no matter what. They'll figure it out. And I've been there. I've done that for a lot of people that whose content I've watched I don't really vibe with, I don't really agree with necessarily, but I'll still comment and engage with them because I just generally want to support them. But for the vast majority of people, you're going to have to come a little better than that, right? You're going to have to create engaging content because not everybody's going to want to engage with your video that it's not really doing anything for them, or it's a random video that's just drawn out way too long. Like, there's no reason in hell you should have a 4-minute video of your dog doing nothing. I'm I'm just putting that out there. Now, it's your account, it is your profile, it is your world. This is just my opinion, all right? But for me personally, I'm not gonna watch that whole video. And a lot of times, at least most of the time, I watch my stuff on 2x. And if your video is so long that I'm getting bored on 2x and I'm forcing myself to come up with something to say, you're not doing a very good job at creating engaging content. And going back to my other point, I can't remember if I said this in the beginning or not because I've done this video like 3 or 4 times already. But are you dependent on groups for your engagement? Because if you're dependent on groups for your engagement, you've already lost the sauce. You've already lost the sauce. Groups were never supposed to be the end all be all for success on Flip or any other platform that you're on, specifically Flip in regards to groups, right? You're not supposed to just be dependent on groups. The people in the group are supposed to be sort of like your safety net, but at the same time, that's not where you should stop. Like, you should aim to reach the wider community of Flip, the wider community of the social media realm, right? Don't just be dependent on the people in your chat to go to your page. And I see people doing the 5 for 5, the 10 for 10. That's all good and well. There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is if you're dependent on that. And if that's all you do for likes and for engagement, then you're not really creating engaging content. And it's my opinion that you should change that if you want to find success on Flip and other platforms. All right. So again, are you creating engaging content, or are you creating content that people have to force themselves to engage with? There's all kind of content out here that you can do. You just have to pick one, and or pick a few like I do. I talk about news stories, I talk about current events, I talk about, there's comedic things that I talk about, comedic videos that I make. I'm kind of everywhere, right? It's actually a double-edged sword with me, because if I were to niche, more specifically, I feel like I would have a bigger presence online than I do now. My presence online is kind of, it's a little random, but there's a rhyme and reason to what I do, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of my content is based around my personality. It's based about what I'm enjoying at the moment. Like right now, football is back, so you might see some Charger content. We got a hurricane going on, so you're gonna see some hurricane and some weather news. I'm kind of all over the place with that, but it all links back to news, being informative, being engaging, being entertainment filled, right? So ask yourselves those questions and really lock in, folks. Lock in, gang. Like, really get to the nitty gritty with this stuff. Like, create engaging content so that people don't have to force themselves to write comments, but they actually want to write the comment. All right. So never be dependent on groups. Groups are not supposed to be the end all be all. I actually did a video months ago, and it's actually still, I believe it's still pinned at the top of my profile, how to be successful on Flip as a solo creator. And this is for people that do not want to be a part of a group, or they're just not in a group right now. You don't need a group to find success. And in fact, a lot of people have left groups and found even more success than they found while in the group. Being in a group can kind of be an illusion. It can kind of be a hindrance in a lot of ways. And I have my own group. And I urge anybody, if you feel like the group is not working for you, then please, by all means, do what you got to do to find your success. It's not supposed to be the end all be all. You feel me? So think about what I said. Ask yourselves those questions and see if you don't find more success on Flip in any platform, right? And then come back and let me know how it worked out for you. All right. So until then, flip out. Love more than you hate. And catch you guys on the next video. All right. I'm out.